And this alignment is exactly what we have been working on together with Ukraine over the past year. Today, the member states have given clearly the direction, and they have stated, all of them, nearly all of them, that this alignment should continue as a part of structures and predictable processes. Member states have provided guidance on which reform objectives they expect Ukraine to achieve in order to move the process forward. This is what we needed. On this basis, both Ukraine and the Commission, which I represent, have to-do list. I'm looking to you, have the to-do list to advance in technical negotiations, meaning we know exactly what needs to be done. This will be in the areas of the rule of law and democratic institutions, the internal market and external relations. Reforms are at the center of this process, and nobody can veto Ukraine from doing these reforms. The Commission also sees this new phase in the negotiations as the opportunity to pick up speed and intensity. This is why, together with the Ukrainian government, we have yesterday decided on an action plan of 10 reform priorities. They all focus on strengthening the rule of law, fighting corruption, and building the strong, accountable democratic institutions in Ukraine. And these institutions Ukraine needs for the future accession process. This is on top of our list of priorities for the coming years. We will not waste any time to advance the EU alignment of Ukraine to build the pillars of future peace and stability, not only for Ukraine and in Ukraine, but in all of Europe. You will see this statement, joint statement between the Deputy Prime Minister, Taras Kachka, and myself. Soon it will be online. And my personal message at the end, I'm stressing many times that I have the best job possible as Commissioner for Enlargement in these times, because this is how myself and my team can operationally help Ukraine becoming a member of the European Union. And this is huge. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for 2 questions. Let's begin with the Polish broadcaster. Yeah. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. Amazing.
Surprised.
You both, this is a question, same question for Deputy as well as European Commission for Enlargement, Marty Kos. You both mentioned security guarantees for Ukraine joining the EU. Can you tell us what would be at stake if Ukraine was never be allowed to or other factors? How could Russia respond to this? How does this membership in the EU guarantee Ukraine's security?
This is a hypothetical question because Ukraine will become a member of the EU and nobody can block it.
So, as well, I think that this is clear that Russia is now a threat to all continent, and you know that Ukraine is defending itself and continent as well, so that we can approach it from the value side or from the actual security. We see what Russia is trying to do all around the continent with airports and the sabotages and etc. So that's why this is our common reply to this threat, that we need to be united, and that's why it is clear that this is like utmost necessity for Ukraine to be together with the European Union. And since we already very advanced on our negotiating process, so we went through screenings, now we have these 3 clusters where we have very clear understanding of the benchmarks, what the to-do list and everything else, so that it means that the debate that might happen between member states, like with Hungary, is only a matter of debate. It's not a matter of vetoing, blocking, or destruction the ideas that, or the tasks that are really vital for all of us, for Ukraine and the European Union.
Can I just add to that? I was really positive walking out of this meeting. We knew that there would be very many positive comments and support for the enlargement process and also this front-loading approach. But I have to say that the support we heard in the room today was even higher than I expected. It is very clear that we are 26 member countries that see a future with Ukraine in EU. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when.
One more question, Sergei Sidor and Europe.
I have a question to all participants. First of all, regarding roadmaps, we have 3 or 4, how to count roadmaps, adopted by Ukrainian government. Do we expect to have some blessing from the EU side that these roadmaps are what you also perceive as part of Ukrainian job? And also, you referred to action plan. What is that? Is it connected somehow? And the question to Ukrainian Vice Prime Minister, your assessment, why?
You know, we do roadmaps and action plans for every candidate country, and this is then a clear action plan, what needs to be done, and we are following this thoroughly. So, and now it is clear what is about Cluster 1. It is rule of law, it is strengthening the democratic institutions, and this is very important. Regarding it is not a new plan, it is a joint statement of 2 of us, or I would say the European Commission and the government of Ukraine on 10 points with which we put down the priorities, because it is so much to do in the whole process. It is reform agenda, it is the rule of law roadmap, and so on. So now these are the 10 points, priorities, which Ukrainian government committed to do in the next year. For instance, ensuring expanding the jurisdiction of NABO and SAPO, using the international experts, and so on. So you will, all this will be public and you will be able to see. So these are the priorities. So much is to do, but in the first year, this is what is most important.
And the roadmaps, Ukraine adopted roadmaps, are they blessed by the EU?
They, of course, they are blessed. Yeah, we do this in hand in hand.
One more question.
Yeah, so that
All the time.
Sorry.
All the timing. So that I think that the 3 elements that I would like to highlight. First, on the roadmaps and benchmarks. I think that we have two layers in the enlargement process. One is very technical, so that's these screenings, all the draft common positions, and the roadmaps are definitely part of all this machinery on Cluster 1. So that's why, and we heard today about the member states' expectations. So that's formally they call them benchmarks. Yes, so that this is political layer. And in the political layer, there is also like a hint that the roadmap should be implemented not only on substance, but also within the deadlines that are envisaged in these roadmaps. And in this political dimension, we have the requirements related to the accession as such, so the benchmarks, and we heard this, but as well the things that are very essential and core here and now in this momentum. Ukraine is going through painful structural reforms, and the most recent situation also could eventually cast a shadow about the adherence of Ukraine to anti-corruption reforms. So that's why we, together with Commission, consolidated those measures in the roadmaps that are essential here and now to ensure that we adhere to these reforms, like amendments to criminal procedure code or involvement of international experts in reforms of institutions in the criminal justice, administration of criminal justice, including NABU and SAPO. So all these things are coherent and showing that we are moving as fast as possible. So to conclude, I think that this fall, the communication from European Commission was to conclude negotiations in 2028. Yes, so it means that all our homework should be done in the next 2 years, so 24 months. And taking into account that the EU accession is one of cornerstone of talks about future peace and security guarantees, this term could be even shorter than 24 months. So, but in this, let's be aware that everything depends on Ukraine. So it's not 100% about Ukrainian reforms. So that's why it will depend from how fast we will be able to move Ukrainian government and Ukrainian parliament. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the last question. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any formal way or negotiation to overcome Hungary's veto? Are you waiting for the Hungarian election, perhaps, for a change of heart? And secondly, is a ceasefire necessary to allow for Ukraine's accession, given that there would be no defined border as of now without such a ceasefire or peace plan? How much of a priority is that before any talk of accession?
So the enlargement procedure requires unanimity. That was in the negotiating framework, and that's just how it is. But we believe, and also after the meeting today, there is such a strong pressure, there's such a strong support for Ukraine EU membership that we move on. We find it quite unbelievable that this blockade can continue, because that would be a misuse of the veto right. So that's something we have to find a solution on. And also, Ukrainian EU membership is not just good for Ukraine. This is also about EU. This is about future European stability, security. Ukraine has a lot to offer Europe too. So that's why we are quite firm in our belief that this blockade cannot continue.
And as well on Hungarian veto, I think that we are in the constant and permanent dialogue with Hungarian government, and it looks like now we have all dimensions and all the major developments in this area indicates that Hungarian government should change its position. So first and foremost, Hungary always highlight that the Ukrainian accession directly relates to war, and we all see that the accession of Ukraine to the EU is one of the core elements to finding peace in Europe. If Hungary wants peace, that it should support us. Then the idea, as formally expressed by Hungarian government, that instead of accession there should be a strategic partnership. It also requires some substantive process similar to enlargement. That's why Hungary should actually change its stance on opening of negotiations. And last but not least, I think that the only topic that Hungary raises about national minorities, I think that this is clear that Ukraine is doing everything to ensure that Hungarian communities, not only Hungarian but also other national minority communities, have all the opportunities to develop, to maintain their identity. You know that we spend more than 14% of all costs on education in Transcarpathian region on Hungarian schools. We have more than 90 schools with Hungarian language of education, so that's why in substance we support them. And even more, that the best way for Hungarian communities in Ukraine to maintain and develop their identity is actually to join, for Ukraine to join the European Union, and for Hungarian communities to live in one entity with no borders and no obstacles. So that's why from every perspective Hungary should change its position, and I hope that it is coming. Yeah, so that's not a long distance for this year. Thank you.
One additional point is we couldn't have started with Ukraine as a candidate status without unanimity decisions, meaning that also Hungary has given a green light, so it was EU27 decision to give Ukraine a candidate status. So now we also expect that in this sense Hungary would also support. And back to the issue of minorities, I've been to Zakarpattia during my last mission in September. I was talking to the Hungarian minorities, representative minorities there, and they didn't tell me about the problems which shouldn't be solved during the accession process. This is Article 2 of the European Treaty, protecting the minorities. So, and this is what Ukraine is already doing in the action plan on minorities. So there is nothing which cannot be solved through the accession process. But blocking the process, it's not European.
Thank you. Thank you, dear speakers.
Thank you.
The press conference is over.
Thank you.
All the best to you, and happy holidays.